Um, okay, so we have asked the state to let us know when it is a secret shopper. And they're supposed to identify themselves as a secret shopper. And I just want to show you. It's just one little check mark you'll need to make right here, test call. Just do a check, and that's all you have to do to let us know. So moving on. Problem Gambling Helpline. So what is it exactly? It's a toll-free number that's published on the back of lottery tickets, in casinos, and via other media, such as billboards. The primary goal is to encourage callers to connect with treatment and support services. These calls will generally require more time than a 211 call, just so you're aware of that. Besides treatment and referrals made regarding problem gambling, the only other referrals we'll be making on these calls are with tourism or lottery. If the caller has other needs, food, substance abuse, you should do a 211 search and refer, even if the caller is in our area. Yeah. Can you ask Matt Finley? Yeah. So only gambling tourism referrals should be made if the caller has other needs. So this is the Problem Gambling Helpline, and you should always, if they present with other needs, you always want to tell them, give them an explanation on 211. Don't just say, well, here, let me give you your local 211. You want to say, okay, so I understand you may have other needs. I'd like to give you the number to your local 211, and then you can go on and describe what it is we do. So just to reiterate, even if it's our area, we are not giving them other referrals. Just want to keep it clean. We don't want them calling the Problem Gambling Helpline in the future for food pantries or, and also to keep it consistent. The caller in Cincinnati should get the same service as a caller in Cleveland or in any of our other regions, Stark. So that's why. Problem Gambling Helpline. These are just some of the topics we're going to be going over. So a nice, easy, simple greeting is best. Thank you for calling the Ohio Problem Gambling Helpline. My name is Chris. How may I help you? I just want to remind people it's a helpline, not a hotline. Initially, it's always best to take a minute after your greeting and you exchange your greetings, just take the time to explain what the Problem Gambling Helpline is and what we do. Oftentimes, even our regular 211 callers, don't know what to expect when they're calling 211. How Matt gave the example earlier, how people, just think, oh, United Way, we have money in here and they can just come down here and get money. No, that's not what we do. I'm on a webinar. So take a minute and explain exactly what the helpline does so we can manage their expectations and they know exactly what's going on. So in short, you know, this is what we do at the Problem Gambling Helpline. We're here to help anyone affected by problem gambling understand the available treatment and support options, and to make sure that each client has all of the information necessary and as much confidence as possible to connect with local services. So in a nutshell, that's what we do. Really important part of the call is the beginning of the call. Scott Anderson from the state, when I spoke with him last week, did stress this, the empathy. These may, you know, be callers in crisis, and you know, you might be nervous, and but it's important just to calm down and show empathy and build your rapport. So I've included some phrases that may help you, and I will be sending this PowerPoint out to everyone, so you can feel free to print out certain pages if you want to, save it so you can reference it, but I will be happy to do that. So I'm so glad you called. It takes a lot of courage to make this first step. You may feel alone, but you're not. It's important to always, it's important to always use a low tone, speak calmly, slowly. They may be nervous or agitated, and speak fast. It's important to, you know, take your time. Feel free to reassure them there is help for you. Instilling hope is another big thing from the state. This is a good start. You're not alone. People can recover from this. So please keep this page available for your calls. It'll help you, if you're nervous, build your rapport. Find out what kind of help they're seeking. Some will just be calling for general information about what defines an addiction, which there's no easy answer to that. It's if they or someone else, if the gambling is causing problems in their daily life, despite attempts to make changes, it's probably a good sign that it's time to find some local help. Some callers may not know what to even ask for, and we deal with this with our regular 211 calls. For these callers, just take your time and again, go over, you know, what we do. And a good way to maybe start the conversation is to ask what prompted them to call. Those nice open-ended questions. And naturally, we will be getting our callers asking about the casino buffet or the winning Powerball. We do give referrals to these callers, and the proper taxonomy for callers asking about the casino, hotels, anything casino related is tourist information. So you just give them the local tourism board. If they're calling about lottery, cash explosion, their scratch-off tickets, anything, the winning numbers, your taxonomy is lotteries, and we will refer them to the Ohio Lottery Commission. So these are definite referrals we're making. All callers calling regarding problem gambling, though, feel that they're in some level of crisis.
Hey, Chris.
Yes?
Can I ask a quick question, please?
Yes.
All right. When I get calls for the lotteries, what I haven't been doing and I need to do, I keep them in the problem gambling, and I look under, you know, the lotteries and give them the information. So according to what you just said, we do need to, I just want to make sure this is clear. If it's just for general information about a winning ticket or something, we need to close them out of the problem gambling helpline and then reopen them? No.
Nope.
So, okay. Go ahead.
Nope. This came in on the problem gambling helpline because, like, we said the number's on every ticket and every scratch-off ticket and everything. So they're aware of that. And yeah, we definitely want to record those calls in the problem gambling access site. Yep.
And my other question secondary to that is when I do that, I'm not asking them all those questions, how long have you been gambling, all the other things that prompt us up in the data section. So is that also okay if we do say not appropriate or did not ask in these particular types of calls if we're staying in problem gambling?
Yeah, so if somebody called asking a question specifically regarding a lottery ticket or something like that, I would say, okay, well, you've reached the problem gambling helpline. I would give that brief description of what we did, what we do, and if that's, you've tried your assessment and truly that's all they need, then no, you will not get dinged on that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
And yes, the answer would be yes, they don't apply.
Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying that for me. I appreciate it.
Okay, sure. You're welcome.
All right.
So problem gamblers, there may be multiple issues driving their call: legal, financial, relationship, employment, housing, etc. While it is appropriate to ask about their problems like this and ask how they're feeling, is very appropriate, and you should do that. But after you build your rapport, do your assessment, give them the gambling options. Now you should go into, I want to give you your local 211, give them the brief explanation again of what they can expect when they call a 211. They may be able to give you referrals to programs to help you, deal with your relationship troubles or find employment, things like that. So it's important to, let them know we're not just giving them numbers and sending them on their way. We want them to know what to expect when they make their next calls. Suicide. Suicide rates among chronic gamblers are very high. So the potential for self-harm may need to be addressed regularly. Use the lethality assessment and refer. As always, try to stay calm, listen to your caller, and if necessary, use our 911 protocols. The lethality assessment is located on the data page and refer. Here's a picture of the first three questions, danger to self, and then it goes on, this slides down, and this is domestic violence questions, and then at the bottom is one where, if you're a danger to others. So definitely, that was another point that Scott Anderson made, is that we are not doing our suicide assessments enough. People have sounded depressed, or he even openly said it, and it's not been acknowledged. So we definitely want to take our time on these calls and do these assessments if necessary. And of course, just as we do something changes, this lethality assessment is probably going to be changing. The state may make changes, but the important thing to know is it's going to be located in the same exact place, so you'll be fine. You just have to go over it. We also get calls from family members in crisis and in desperation if one of their loved ones is a problem gambler. So the lethality assessment self-harm portion may apply to family members as well, not just the problem gambler. So if you're picking up, you know, feelings on a family member, go ahead and treat them the same as you would the gambler. So the different options in our database, the one is counseling treatment. So they connect clients with one-on-one professional assessment and counseling and an organized course of treatment based on the client's individual circumstances. This may include group counseling, family counseling, support groups, etc. So while you'll, you know, after you do your assessment, you can explain, you know, well, I have several options for you. The first would be counseling and treatment, and then you can go over, you know, what counseling and treatment is, you know. Give them as much information as possible. So still in this counseling and treatment is available at no cost to the client at publicly funded treatment agencies. Other private agencies may have the sliding scale. Medicaid is a primary payer, then private insurance if they have it, and lastly, the state allocation that pays for gambling disorder treatment through their local alcohol, drug, and mental health services board. When making your treatment referrals, counseling, check on the cost of service and include at least one no-cost option. Every county in Ohio has one, at least one. Make sure you give the no-cost option as one of the 3 referrals that you give. You know, our goal is to give 3 referrals per service request. So make sure you give the no-pay option, even if they have insurance. When you're scrolling...
Excuse me, could I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay. You're saying that there's at least 3 options in every county?
Oh, no. So we try and give 3 referrals per service request. And let me explain this. Every county in Ohio has one provider, or at least one provider that is to help the persons in that county. That doesn't mean that every county has one. The provider for a certain county, maybe 2 counties over, but they help everyone in that county. So there may not be one in every county, but there is a designated agency, you know, to serve every county in Ohio.
It's like the area agencies on aging.
Right.
So when you're scrolling through the match list, you'll know which ones are no cost because it says no cost. And then the ones that have fees or sliding scales say private practice. So this is a screenshot of the match list. So before you even open it up, you'll know. So we also want to encourage any client seeking help to obtain support from a counselor or treatment program. This drastically increases their chances of making lasting behavioral change. So we definitely want to be thorough in our description of the counseling and maybe say right up front we have no cost options. Another type of treatment or help is support groups. So support groups provide those affected by problem gambling additional recovery support through organized meetings with groups of peers experiencing similar issues. So your Gamblers Anonymous. So again, after you go over the treatment options with someone, you want to, don't just assume everyone knows what Gamblers Anonymous is. You want to take the time and give them the explanation of exactly what this is. Gamblers Anonymous and Smart Recovery have national numbers to find local meetings for the person with the gambling addiction. The taxonomy search for GA or Smart Recovery is gambling support groups. They also have support groups for friends or families of a gambling addict. That taxonomy, families, friends of compulsive gamblers support groups. So we're giving them the Gamblers Anonymous or the GAM-Anon. Sometimes there are co-addictions. So if the caller presents with those needs to help for AA or substance abuse, help them, get them their referrals for the problem gambling, and then again, you're going to explain, I'm going to refer you to your local 211. They can give you referrals to help you find AA or NA meetings in your area. Okay, this has caused a ruckus at each of our other webinars. Voluntary exclusion program, aka self-exclusion. So it's changed since the last time we took over this contract. The state has asked that we not recommend this, that we don't even mention it unless they specifically ask for it by name. So even if they do request it, I would just, sure, I'm happy to share that information with you, but I would like to tell you about counseling as well. Self-exclusion, one of the reasons being that it doesn't independently address their behavior. It just legally prevents them from claiming their winnings if they win. Because we all know they don't check your ID walking in the door, but if you were to claim, if you were to win, that's when they would check your ID and you could be arrested. So this is just something that is a treatment tool that's most effective when in the care of a counselor, and then you and your counselor would discuss this tool, and it's usually down the line after you've been in treatment. And also another reason is when this helpline first started, these casinos were just opening. There weren't as many treatment options. So this was put in there. But then after people, studies have shown, it just works better in concert if you're working with a counselor. So again, please do not offer this. Do not offer the voluntary exclusion program unless they specifically ask for it. Okay. Among pathological gamblers, abuse of alcohol and other drugs, abuse of nicotine, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and ADHD have all been found to be much more prevalent among problem gamblers. At minimum, the rate of problem gambling among people with substance use disorders is 4 to 5 times that found in the general population. So, as it is so likely to occur with other substance abuse or mental health disorders, it's appropriate to ask if they're receiving support from anyone for other problems. If they already have a support group for their other problems, they may want to access this assistance along with any other recourses that we can offer. It's also appropriate to refer them to their local 211, again, to address their alcohol, drug, or any other mental health issues. Intimate partner violence. Partners of gambling addicts or substance abuse addicts are far more likely to be the victim of violence. If talking to a family member and you suspect they are unsafe, you may consider referring them to their local 211 for local domestic violence options. And just I wanted to mention if nothing shows up with the 211 search, your taxonomy term is comprehensive information and referral. Okay, in the closing portion of your call, before ending the call, you want to ask them if they have any questions about anything you've been over so far. Like other calls, you want to make sure that they have a solid plan for making the next step. So you want to make sure they absolutely know, what they're going to do next, and that when they make that next call, they know what to expect. Because oftentimes they are in crisis. Again, make sure they still have our phone number. Thank them for calling and remind them we're here open 24/7 if they need further assistance. Any questions? And I am going to show you in refer. I'm going to go through refer with you as well. Any questions regarding the PowerPoint?
You said you're sending everybody a copy of that?
I did.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So when your call presents on your InContact, Max, or SIN agent, you're going to want to go to the gambling site. I'm going to do a rural county. So I think the easiest way for problem gambling calls is also the easiest way how you access the Cuyahoga Shelter is category search. It's just all in here, so nice and neat. Here it is. You want to open up the problem gambling. And here is get problem gambling counseling from a professional. So this would be your counseling treatment options. And you want to select that. Any targets that may apply. So if you notice, this caller is from Bucyrus, Crawford, a more rural area. So the closest resource for treatment is 24 miles away, and it's private practice, as we can see, which is fine to go ahead and talk to them. And, if, you tell them that it's a fixed fee, but they do accept most Medicaid and third-party insurances. Just make sure they have all their information. Okay. And then, even though it's 35 miles away, you still want to give them a no-cost option. And you're just going to, okay, I found a no-cost option that provides assessment and individual counseling for individuals with problem gambling issues. General addiction group therapy may also be possible. So we definitely want to go through everything on this detail page with their caller. Make sure they understand. And then we would offer the Sandusky one. But remember that we included the veterans target. So if you notice, this is sorting by proximity. So we'll have to scroll down. And here we go. The closest treatment program for people in Crawford County is in Columbus, but especially, since they identified as a veteran, even though it's far away, you always want to absolutely give them the referral that's targeted to veterans. Oftentimes they have transportation help or in buses and things that can help. So we definitely want to give them this option. Before I go back over here, I wanted to do this first, and I forgot. So these data questions, very important. They aren't just used to say, oh, we served how many vets. As you know, it often opens up treatment options for them. So very important to find the answers to these questions. And this was right from one of the webinar slides. If you're trying to build rapport to open up the person, this is a great one. What prompted you to call or seek help today? And then I just wanted to let everyone else, to let you know that, several may apply and you are allowed to pick more than one. Well, what's going on? Are you going in the casino? These aren't like interrogation questions where you just run down the list. They're conversational. Okay. Another treatment option that may help people who are in rural areas or just are more comfortable in their own home is internet counseling. So it's an online community for people with gambling issues to share their experiences and ideas. So, make sure you go over this, and if it's appropriate and they like that, save the referral to the internet counseling. Just another option for them. So this is where you would find your counseling and your treatments. Peer support groups. Here's where you're going to get your Gamblers Anonymous. So, okay, you've offered them the treatment options. And, I'd also like to offer you some peer support groups. What are peer support groups? And then you can go on and explain. And here's the Smart Recovery. And remember from the webinar that these are national organizations. Remember, it's important to read these match list notes so they know what to expect. You may call and nobody answers. It's volunteer-based, so the hours may vary. So you can open this up and explain, you can get this information from the website or the number. Just be real, thorough, so they, completely understand the resources we're offering. So here's the treatment options, counseling treatment. Here's the support groups. Here's the self-exclusion, remember by client request only. Now, what if someone is calling about the buffet? So we're not going to give them directory assistance. We're going to go under tourist information. And give them their local Visitors Bureau. Once again, if somebody called and asked what was on the menu or about hotels or something, I would just, take a minute to explain. This is the Problem Gambling Helpline. This is what we do. I can give you the number to your local tourism board. Who may have the information you're looking for.
And I mean, for most of those places, most counties in Ohio, it's going to be that state one, the Department of Development, because we only have, obviously, those locals in for a couple places.
Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus would probably, have their own, the bigger ones. But yep.
Right.
Yeah. But look at even Little Medina. But, okay. And then people calling about Powerball numbers, cash explosion, anything regarding the Ohio Lottery. Just click on your taxonomy as lotteries, and we send them to the Ohio Lottery Commission. And you can say, okay, I have the number. They oversee the Ohio Lottery. Make sure you give them hours of service. And if you see if they just need winning numbers, that's this line, and this is customer service. So it's all in here. So we want to save those. Make sure we save the lotteries and tourist information as well. So I think the category search is the best way. Since I've opened up Referred, does anyone have any questions? Okay. Anything you want to share, Matt?
I don't think so. Has anyone gotten one of the someone who identified themselves as a secret shopper? I'm just curious.
This is Tom. I have.
How'd it go? What was like the situation they gave you?
Well, she was playing the part of a person who gambled away her rent for the month and was facing family issues. She
Gotcha.
didn't pretend to have any sort of information on any resources or any understanding of addiction.
Gotcha.
Did she identify as a secret shopper?
At the very end, she did.
At the end, okay.
Yep.
We're not going to tell you up front.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, no, cool. No, thanks. Yeah, I was just to give some people some context around what, just if they're interested in what they've been presenting with.
Do you know when we'll get those paper copies then, Chris, for our desk?
So I'll be emailing those out to you today, and you can print them out and print them out at our copier.
Great, thank you.
I had made some notes on the reason for contact for the gambling helping line when it's not a call that actually went through, so you could talk to someone. So I was going to email that to you, and I can do that later with some things that I think could be added to that.
Okay. Yeah. And we'll just run them by the state to see if that's something they want to see.
Well, thanks for attending, everyone. Nadine, you good? All right.
Yes, I'm fine. Sorry about that. I had too many mutes.
That's okay. No problem. All right. Well, if anyone thinks of a question later, feel free to send an email. Otherwise, have a good day, and thanks for attending.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks.
Bye. You're welcome.